All right, let's journey back in time. We're talking nearly 2,000 years ago to a really dynamic and fascinating period in South Indian history. This was an era defined by legendary kings, epic poetry, and some intense, long-standing rivalries that would go on to shape the subcontinent for centuries.
And this image, wow, it just perfectly captures the field of the time. You can almost see it all happening at once. Grand temples, scholarly assemblies, and warring armies all in one place. This was the Sangam age, a vibrant tapestry woven together with threads of high culture, brutal conflict, and, of course, bustling trade.
So at the very heart of this entire period was this fierce, multi-generational power struggle. And that begs the question, right? Who exactly were these powerful rivals, and what were they all fighting for? Well, that's what we're going to dive into.
Okay, so to set the stage, the Sangam period runs from roughly the 3rd century BC all the way to the 3rd century AD. It actually gets its name from the legendary Sangam assemblies, these amazing gatherings of poets and scholars, mostly held under the patronage of the Pandya kings. And it's really through their epic literature that we know so much about this time.
The whole political scene was dominated by 3 major dynasties. So let's meet the Muvendar, which literally translates to the 3 crowned kings.
So the entire region was basically built on this three-way split of power. You've got the Cheras, the Cholas, and finally the Pandyas. Each one had its own capital city, its own territory, and a totally unique royal emblem that symbolized its power. Let's break them down.
First up, the Cheras. They ruled over what is now central and northern Kerala and parts of Tamil Nadu. Now, their biggest asset was their strategic spot right on the western coast. This made their ports, like Mussoorie and Tondi, vital hubs for trade. And we're not just talking local trade here. We mean a direct and very lucrative connection to the Roman Empire. Their emblem, fitting for a people defending a huge coastline, was the bow and arrow.
Next, we have the Cholas, who controlled the incredibly fertile Kaveri River Delta. And this wasn't just any old farmland. It was known as the granary of South India. This agricultural wealth was the absolute bedrock of their power. It let them field huge armies and build magnificent temples. And their emblem? Well, it perfectly captured their fierce ambition, the tiger.
And finally, rounding out our big 3, the Pandyas. They held sway over the southernmost parts of the peninsula. Their capital, Madurai, was a legendary center for culture and commerce. But you know, their most enduring legacy was their patronage of those Sangam literary assemblies, the very gatherings that give this age its name. Their emblem, representing their mastery of the southern seas, was the fish. But here's the thing, these 3 kingdoms were not peaceful neighbors, not even close. Their relationship was defined by pretty much constant warfare, as each one vied for total supremacy over the Tamil country.
In an era full of heroes, one name really stands out, Karikala Chola. His name itself tells a pretty dramatic story, translating to the man with the charred leg. It's a reference to this legendary fire in his youth, an injury he not only survived, but totally overcame on his path to reclaiming the throne.
Karikala's military genius is pretty much undisputed, and his greatest achievement was the legendary Battle of Veni. Now get this, in this one single decisive conflict, he faced a massive confederacy. We're talking his 2 great rivals, the Cheras and the Pandyas, who were backed up by 11 allied minor chieftains. It was basically an alliance designed to completely crush him.
In his victory, it wasn't just a win, it was a statement. It firmly established Chola dominance over the entire region and cemented Karakala's place as one of the most celebrated monarchs of the entire Sangam age.
But this rivalry wasn't just about war, it was also about legacy. I mean, these kings competed to build things, to innovate, and to create prosperity for their people.
Karikala's legacy wasn't just forged in battle. The man was also a visionary builder. He's credited with constructing the Kalanai Dam, also known as the Grand Aniket, a massive stone structure built to tame the powerful Kaveri River and irrigate that whole delta region.
And here's the truly astonishing part. This dam, built with uncarved stones nearly 2,000 years ago, is one of the oldest water regulation systems in the entire world, and it's still in use today. Just an incredible testament to ancient Tamil engineering. You know, despite all the constant fighting, these rival kingdoms were also deeply connected to a booming global economy. The ports of South India were bustling hubs of international trade. They were exporting high-demand goods like pepper, fine textiles, and pearls. And in return, ships would arrive carrying Roman gold, Arabian horses, and sweet wine.
So what was life actually like under these kings? Well, thanks to all that Sangam literature, we have a remarkably detailed picture of a really highly organized society.
A king never ruled alone. Nope, he was supported by a pretty sophisticated council of officials. You had ministers for administration, priests for spiritual guidance, commanders for the army, envoys for diplomacy, and even a whole network of spies to gather intelligence. This was a well-oiled machine of governance.
Now here's something really unique about Sangam society. Life was divided into 5 distinct ecological zones, or tinai. This basically meant your occupation, your culture, and even the god you worshipped were directly tied to the landscape around you, whether you were a hunter in the hills, a farmer in the fertile plains, or a fisherman on the coast.
So, what did all this conflict, all this culture, and all this construction actually lead to? Well, the legacy of the Moovindar is really profound and long-lasting. Ultimately, this era of the 3 crowned kings wasn't an end, but really a powerful beginning. The trade networks they built, the administrative systems they perfected, and the cultural identity they forged, all of it laid the foundation for what was to come, the rise of the massive imperial Chola Empire centuries later.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? They were bitter rivals in war, but at the same time, they were partners in trade and culture. It just makes you wonder, how does the complex legacy of conflict and connection from 2,000 years ago continue to shape our world today?